My name is Kalle Kizzier. I'm a recent graduate of UCS kinesiology program in the sport and athletic coaching track. And I'm coaching football and basketball, and that's what I want to do.
It's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I haven't brought you one like this. I have Coach Kelly. That's what I'm going to call him. The coach is in the building, and this guy, yes, he does have a baby face. I know how that is. I used to have one. It's getting more grown every day, but he's going to give us the game on what it is to be a coach, to be a young coach. Hopefully, inspire some of you who say, you know what, I might not be able to go to the league, but I can, stay in sports and something that I love. So welcome to the show, bruv. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. That's exactly what I want to do is just hopefully I can inspire some other young coaches out there and whoever wants to stay involved with whatever sport they're passionate about as long as they can.
Tell us, what is it like to be, you're fresh out of school, maybe, you'll go back, but to want to be a coach, I mean, as a young coach and they look at you, do you have to really fight for your respect, or do people understand nowadays that you might be like some young prodigy genius that can take them to the next level?
Well, it's interesting. When I first started coaching, I was still in high school myself. I was coaching my younger brother's basketball teams, and I was, when I was still in high school, I definitely, had to show that I knew what I was talking about. And I think no matter who you are, it's earned. You have to show what you're talking about, especially being younger coaches. Funny, this past season, I was coaching high school football at my former high school, and almost every other day, some player, someone would be coming to me how old are you again? And because I'm aware, sometimes I look like I'm still in high school, but once they get to know me, they realize I know what I'm talking about and they can trust me. But at the same time, being younger is an advantage too, because we had some more experience than an older coaching staff, but a lot of times I was a lot more relatable to the kids, so I was able to communicate with them, and that was I think a plus to have me on that staff, is because while I was learning from the older staff, I was able to communicate with the kids in a different way.
Well, I'm so glad that I met you, and I just want to let people know how I met you, because I think networking is not taught in most schools, and even till you get to college, they'll tell you, hey, go meet these people. But we were at the Sports Business Club here in West Palm Beach, and we were at, they were talking about golf, and here comes, my golf game is non-existent. I might do putt-putt, but I don't like to embarrass myself. But, your mother came to the table and said, hey, anyone sitting here? No, I love company and I like to show myself friendly. So that's how we met, you guys, just, from an event that I think every chance I get to, I'm going to go to. And so thank you, Pat Sullivan and the PB Kennel, for putting that together. Any questions on that, you guys send me a message, but they were, putting something together. Me as a sports agent, I'm just trying to learn and look for the right opportunities for, our future clients. Now for you coach multiple sports. What made you say, hey, I'm going to come to the golf event? Because do you also do golf as well?
I'm not in the golf at all, but interested about networking. I actually got to know the co-founder of that event, Rick Harrow, through my mom's. So my mom does property management and real estate, and she got to know Rick through that. And she let me know, she's like, there's this guy who's big in the sports business world, and you should probably meet him sometime. So I eventually met him, and I've become pretty good friends with him, and I'm learning a lot from him. And he's pretty much becoming a mentor of mine, and he's invited me to the event, even though it had nothing to do with football or basketball. It was just seems like definitely an event I had to be at. And I'm glad to meet you there for sure. And I'm playing it. And the next one, I'm supposedly about football. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I want to send Pat a message because he did email me before I even came and answered my question real quick. But I mean, to have these things, recorded, because it was on my calendar. And then Tallahassee called, and it's kind of a thing that have to be at. I can't send somebody to. And I know now that I know you, and I can say, hey, what happened at the meeting? Because
for sure.
Pat's history, I'm just assuming with, are you familiar with what Mr. Sullivan does?
With Pat Rooney? Yeah. I believe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with his family has a piece of the Steelers,
yeah,
from my understanding.
I was aware of that, yeah.
Yeah, so who knows who comes down for this one?
True, yeah, especially with the football one. And it's 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, you as a coach, how do you go, whatever that next level is? Because people, and you and I talked about it briefly, okay, I want to go to teach college. I want to teach, professional possibly. Is it all just networking, or is it that you have to go to, some training, and then you have to pass this training? It's like to become a CPA, it's not just getting a bachelor's or a master's. You got to do all this other stuff. What does it take?
Well, it starts with networking for sure, and experience. Every time I see a younger coach on TV or whatever, I always look them up and see what their history is and how they got to where they are. It seems like everyone has a pretty unique story. When it comes to getting certifications and stuff at the high school level, there's an athletic coaching endorsement you can get through Florida, and there is also several different certifications through NSHS for like concussion certifications, and then all that is going to help you get hired. I also am like CPR certified. All that will help you get hired, but about knowing the right people. I mean, get volunteering. I would say the biggest thing is volunteering for sure. You got to start volunteering, and that's how you get to know people and get to show other coaches what you're capable of, and then they can present you with the right opportunities in the future, which is what I'm trying to do now. So I coached back at my old high school this past fall. Now I'm looking at grad school in sports management or possibly a master's in kinesiology, and hoping to make connections at the college level doing that. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Hopefully, I mean, ideally try to get a teaching assistant or GA position, but one step at a time, for sure.
Now, how much, personality, can one do now that, TikTok, Instagram, if you're out there, being extra and I'm a coach, but I'm a personality that can, maybe bring some extra attention to a school that may need it. Do you see anybody, getting that? Because I'm being biased right now. I'm picking out somebody who I tried to be on the field prime time. What he's doing at Jackson State, him being prime time. Yeah.
It's working for sure. Yeah, I mean, in today's era, with social media and everything, I mean, having a personality can help. I mean, at the end of the day, sports is a business. I mean, even at the high school level, with NIL deals and stuff. So anytime you have a personality that can positively impact the community, go for it and be yourself. I'd say no matter, don't be a character you're not, just be yourself, and people you want to be around will be attracted to who you are. People you want around you will be affected by that. And I mean, I think having a personality and being yourself is really important.
Okay, because coaches, traditionally it's stern lip. You're just kind of there. You're not really showing that personality. But now we're in a time where everybody wants to hear you, see you, no matter if you're the plumber or if you're a coach. So I just want to know, especially being a young coach, if you say too much, do you see people kind of hey, shut up, kid. We don't talk.
Yeah, there could definitely still be some of that stigma, but I think it's changing every day. I mean, I think a lot of the old, the old head coaches per se, they're on their way out, and we can learn a lot from them, but it's a new generation. And that's a really interesting thing too about today's players versus back then, and how they respond to coaches is very different. See, like back in the day, when a coach told you, anyone of authority told you something, it was yes sir, no sir, no matter who they were, if they have authority. But nowadays, kids they're not going to automatically say. They want to know why. They want to know, they don't, just because the coach is going to tell them something, they're not going to do it just right away just because you're the coach. They want to know why they're doing it, something. So it's evolving. I think the kids are evolving, and it's not, and some people look at it as a negative thing, but it's not. It's just different. It's a whole different era. But I definitely think you can be yourself and be a successful coach for sure. Yeah, you don't have to be that old head coach who's screaming and yelling at everybody all game.
Now, talking about how things have changed, because I know some coaches that were jerks, but they taught us life lessons.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Nowadays, though, they might be getting canceled for the things coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because I don't know how I'd be canceled. I'd just say, y'all got to cancel me. I had to, break this guy down to build him up. How do you deal with that in the climate that we're in?
Well, yeah, the people around you, the people who pretty much are higher, you have to understand what the ultimate goal is with the kids. And the kids have to, if the kids are not having a good time, they'll find a way to cancel you. But if they realize, if you make it from day one, let them know that that you want to be coached hard. And if I'm coaching you hard, that means I care about you. And they understand, if you have a mutual understanding with your players that you want to be coached hard, and it's a good thing, then it'll work out. But if they don't know why they're getting yelled at, or they don't know why you're getting after them, then they might, be disappointed and things might go wrong. But it's really about that. It's really, they got to understand about how coaching hard can affect them in the long run positively.
Okay, and coaching hard in such a sensitive time, how do you even gauge if somebody can handle something? Because I knew some guys who, they came from even some rough areas, and coach yell at them and they just break down emotionally. And then you got some guys who came from some great areas, and they needed that kick because they never got it in their life. Everything might have been given to them. So how do you gauge that?
Well, you can't treat every kid the same. You're not going to coach every player the same way. You got to from day one, you got to understand the personalities of your players and learn from them and pick up on their personality types. And every player is going to be coached a little bit differently, and you got to figure out what gets them going. And some players, they play well when they're playing very in their emotions. Some players play better when they're, calm state of mind. So it's really, you got to have an effort as a coach to really understand your players and get to know them. You can't just treat everyone as just, player 1, 2, and 3. You have to know their names, know who they are, know their background, everything, understand, and become a friend of theirs.
Now, with the laws, you mentioned the NIL laws and how that's changed, and reason why, we got our license to be a licensed sports agent here in the great state of Florida. How is that going to change, do you think, kids' egos towards the coach? Because the kid might be making more money than the coach, and, respect his paycheck that I just got. Yeah,
it's right now, it's the Wild West right now at the NIL, especially at the college level. There's not too many rules with it either right now. So, college players are going everywhere. But at the high school level, that is interesting. We haven't seen there's been some instances already of high school players getting NIL deals, which is pretty wild. But that's a good, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the next couple of years, because it's so new that we'll see. But especially we're definitely seeing inflated egos with social media just in general. But at the end of the day, it's going to help if the player understands that the coach has the same goal as them, and it's to win and have a positive impact. And as long as the coach and this said player have the same goal, hopefully they can work it out.
Yeah, that it's interesting because, for me, I say, being new, what we can offer is honesty, integrity, and to say, hey, if you don't go to the pro, you don't have any hopes or any way of going professional. Let's turn you into an influencer and use that audience, use the spotlight. So for me, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, everybody, seems to want to be some type of influencer so they don't have to go clock in and punch in. The influence and the laws are forever changing. Florida being one of the best places to do this at in California.
Yeah.
It's a whole different beast. You and I are both from California, but it's like too many rules, too many things you have to
Yeah.
do.
There's a lot of
Can a
things going on there.
can a coach also be an agent? Have you seen anything that stops you from also being an agent or helping agents recruit players?
Um, well, I knew of someone nearby here who is the head basketball coach of a local private school. He was also the sports agent for a very big athlete in the NFL right now. So I know that was a thing. So from what I know, but then again, there's different rules for public schools and private schools. But as long as it doesn't directly affect what you're doing, I'm sure it's fine. But I mean, nowadays you might have high school athletes with agents soon here. So like, yeah, that is a good point. That it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Because I mean, right now there's not too many rules with NIL because it's so new. But there probably will be soon here.
Yeah, I hope they don't make so many rules because it's not like the average coach is making even, $70,000, right?
Yeah,
Let
well,
everybody,
yeah, that's yeah, in Florida especially, high school coaches are extremely underpaid. At the end of the day, they're doing it because they love doing it. So typically they get a stipend on top of their teaching salary. And when a head coach of a big football program with that stipend, if you do the math on how many hours, they're literally doing it for like $1 an hour or less. Because hey, football coach is a year-round job, which a lot of people don't realize. Because as soon as season ends, you're going to off season, weight training, you got 7-on-7, you got stuff going on year-round pretty much, and you just get a small stipend on top of it. That's not the case in every state. In Texas, Georgia, even California, there's some coaches making serious money just coaching football. They're not even teaching. So I think that is an issue that definitely needs to be addressed in Florida, especially since Florida has the most, there's one of the most talented areas in the country when it comes to football, especially South Florida. I believe there's the most players in the NFL are from South Florida, like Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach County. You go to any Friday night game there, you're probably the least one, Division I player out there, especially in South Florida, which is so when you have that kind of talent, and you have coaches coaching them year round, how much they're getting paid, it doesn't add up. And what is an issue we see too, and people don't realize, is that coaching is so much more than just the sport they're coaching. Now, someone asked, why should a football coach get paid a lot of money when they're just coaching football? Like they're not teaching English or something like that, something. But I mean, they're teaching life lessons, and coaches are mentors for those kids, and you don't know where their backgrounds are from, and those coaches coaches do change people's lives every single day. So that has to be taken into account. It's not just about the sport they're coaching; it's about how they're leaders of young individuals.
Definitely. And Governor DeSantis and every other governor, mayor, everyone listening, we all know teachers should be getting paid a lot more. I mean, I don't, if you're coaching or not, I've done the job short term, the stuff you got to put up with emotionally, if you want to have good education and good people. If not, soon we're just going to have robots teaching kids because people are going to be burned out. It's crazy, the stuff that you have to deal with, and not to get paid a proper salary to be able to live off, especially if you might have financial aid or just other bills. Any solution of where you can see some of maybe there's some booster money that should be coming to the coaches, any solution of how we pay teachers and coaches more, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is an topic. When it comes to coaches, yeah, I mean, I think support from the community, it starts with support from the community. I think if you can get a whole community around a football team, that'll help. That's going to help get more boosters and more, and hopefully funnel that money, hopefully to get more to the coaches. I do think it's definitely big is community support, which I've noticed. One thing that's from growing up in California and then coming here, even though there's great talent here, and there are some schools that are like this, but a lot of schools I think lack a really community feel where they have the whole, the whole town's coming to those Friday night games. And I think, that can, and thing is football usually is a sport that brings in the most money for the athletic programs. So if you can get a whole community around that and have, pack out every stadium, it's going to affect not just the athletic program, but it's going to affect the rest of the school too. If you have a successful football and athletic program in general. Looking back, so I grew up in San Clemente, California, and San Clemente High School, it's a little surf town in Orange County. And you wouldn't think they would have, great football talent. It's mostly great surfers and skateboarders and stuff. But they've really established a great community where growing up, I was going to every Friday night game as a kid and wanted to be in that field one day. And, they have tailgates for the game and everything. It was really cool. And they have similar atmosphere. I mean, Texas, where it gets crazy. When I came here, I was really surprised by seeing empty bleachers on Friday night games for really good football teams. I was just like, that was really surprising to me. So really, I think it starts with the community and getting the community bought into a football program and supporting them.
Wow. Okay. I haven't been able to make it to a game yet, just because COVID. I've been dodging, been juking, and I just, I said, if it's too many people, I'm gonna be uncertain, and I don't want to come and get the family sick. But now vaccinated, boosted, and all that stuff, I definitely want to see more, especially going down to Belgrade where they have so many professional athletes, come out of there.
Yeah, that's an area that definitely has a good community. The Belgrade versus Pahokee, or Glade Central versus Pahokee game every year, that's a game that gets packed out. Muck City, they have some great talents came out of there for sure.
Yeah, so you guys, Muck City, you guys got a shout out. I was told if I go to the game by somebody from there, they said, "You gonna bring your security?" Said, I said, I go through that city. I'm like, hey, whatever it is, it's California has it. I mean, it's America. It's craziness everywhere. Now, the best is yet to come. You're just starting out with your, full career, and you even may go back to school. Down the line, what's a community give back you would like to do, as a coach, even as a person, to give back to the community, once you get that, whatever success is, you hit that pinnacle?
Well, in general, I want to inspire more young coaches to get out there, and overall, I want to inspire kids to do what they're passionate about and not just chase what they think makes a lot of money. I mean, I think you can make anything, you can make money on anything that you have a passion about, but it's not really about it's not about the money. It's about doing something you love every day and not feeling like you're working. When I'm coaching, I don't feel like I'm working. I love doing it. So hopefully, when I get to the point where I'm able to, I can set something up. Really, biggest goal, I want to inspire kids to be do what they're passionate about, and don't be afraid to be obsessed with it. Like, sometimes there's a negative connotation of the word obsessed, but I think that's not a bad thing at all. Being focused, being completely locked in on what you're doing, and just being obsessed with it. And I think, that can help in the long run. And I want to inspire kids to be able to do that themselves.
Well, I think, in the short conversation time we had together, and your mother was there, and I would talk about how, I'd write out plays on the computer even. And you said, and she's like, he did too. Where you looked at, when you were doing that as you're wasting your time, what are you doing? It was kind of like maybe like there are certain kids that played card games like Magic, right? And
Yeah.
people are like, what are you doing wasting your time, Magic? What are you going to do until, Magic card becomes an NFT and that guy's, a multimillionaire. How
Yeah.
did they look at you, your friends coming up and you're writing these plays? Do they just think you were kind of crazy?
Some of them, yeah. I was fortunate to have a couple other friends who were really into football themselves, and having going out there and playing pickup football and trying those plays against them. But in general, I don't think anyone's really been super negative about it. It's just I always just loved it. And what's funny is when it comes to just drawing plays, I remember when I was a little kid playing flag football, I was fortunate to where my dad coached some of my teams, and then we had another coach who let me make some of the plays of the playbook. And I remember making a PowerPoint of the whole playbook, and I sent myself, and I was a little kid, and I was sending it to all the kids on the team. And so I think I was fortunate to have people around me who supported it, essentially. I'm pretty blessed about that. And I think, and from very early, I feel like very early on, like just my life has gravitated me towards coaching.
Now, I'm a kind of a purist. I'm a whole bunch of words that can get you canceled. So I'm going to be careful with this because you're just starting in your career. I don't want to catch you up. But what do you think about, football, basketball commentators, especially football, and you have people, commentating who have never even thrown a football, don't know the game inside or out, but they got a big job on Fox. Maybe I'm telling on myself who I'm talking about. But what do you think about people like that? Do you think that you needed to play the game to actually commentate and get paid millions of dollars?
The football part of me says yes, like you should have experience doing it. But then there's another side, the business side of me says, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. Especially at the professional level, it's entertainment. And, if someone's good at entertaining whoever's the spectators, then, they may be qualified as a job. But the football side of me feels like, how can you actually know really what's going on out there if you haven't been out there? But you have to view it as it's a business, and if someone's very good at communicating and communicating the product and being entertaining, then they can make it work. It's funny is I have a friend who is Arizona State, and he is part of the recruiting department for the football team, and he didn't play high school football at all. And he was fortunate, though. He's learning from the people. He learned a lot from around him, and now he helps recruit for Arizona State. But he's doing a great job there, and he's learning a lot from the people around him who have played football. And at first, when he got that, I was like, he didn't play football at all. I wonder what can he see in film that I feel like he might be missing a lot. But he is learning. As long as you learn from the people around you and are open to and being a sponge of information, I think you can make it work for sure.
And what do you think about, I was accused of this as a kid, but I played all the way. I went to college to sit down because they said, hey, these grades can't officially play. But,
Yeah.
And it was a small school, but I'd be accused of those plays only work in the video game, only Thurman Thomas. So I'm dating myself, or Barry Sanders.
Thurman,
yeah.
Great names, retro.
Yeah, that could run only they could do that on the game because they're such high level, but in real life, you can't do that. Are you able to tell, in a playbook, like that's a playbook or a PlayStation coach play? It's not like a real play. Because I've heard that amongst coaches, like this guy must just only play on PlayStation because that ain't going to work. What is your thought on, how real is you creating a play in a video game now versus doing it on the field?
Well, I feel like, just if you watched just last night, the Chiefs-Bills game, Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for Chiefs, Andy Reid, they're the most creative minds in the league. And some of the stuff the Chiefs do every weekend or something you think you're only able to work in a video game. And they come up with new stuff every week. And, look at the card, there's quite a few teams who are very creative. And I think that's just to look at a play and be like, oh, that would only work in a video game. I think that's a very limited mindset. I think you always have to think outside the box. You know, a lot of the concepts in football will always be used and recycled. And, you know, at the end of the day, every concept in football is used over and over. They're just presented in a different way. And when it comes to the X's and O's, but I think you definitely have to think outside the box when it comes to that kind of stuff. And you can never think, oh, that wouldn't work. That only work in video game. Because the thing is, it, you know, stuff like that does work. And if you think like that, you wouldn't be coming up with the plays, you know, the Chiefs do, where they, you know, the red zone plays every weekend, just you know, surprise everybody. But I feel like a lot of those plays, you know, people would think wouldn't work, but they make it work.
Do you have a crazy play that, you know, maybe that you've created that you've actually been able to do on the field? You know, we used to think the flea flicker or the double flea flicker reverse was something, but have you ever had like a play that you're like, oh, I actually get to do this and it worked on the field? If it is, describe it, you know, if you can.
Well, yeah, I'm always drawing up plays that, you know, some of them just look so ridiculous, but just trying to think of outside the box. I remember being a little kid in flag football. I think we actually took a play straight from that. It was like a trick play. It was Kyle Orton was the quarterback of the Broncos, and they ran like a sweep right, and then they passed it back to Kyle Orton, and then Eddie Royal was crossing across the field. It was a double pass thing, and we made it work we pretty much essentially used that in our flag football game, and it worked for a touchdown. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's funny how like my idea of what a good offense looks like is constantly evolving as I age. And when I was super young, you know, being a football nerd, I was just like, oh, why didn't they just pass it every single play and spread it out and everything? And now I'm starting to. This is where we can learn from, you know, look back at the history of football. We can learn that some of the basic concepts are just some of the most essential. Like, you know, just sometimes you just got to run power. Sometimes you just got to run trap. Just some of the simple stuff and be able to, at the end of the day, football is a game of blocking and tackling. So as long as if you can, you know, execute the simple stuff, and then you can start, once you execute the simple stuff, then you can move on to the more creative things. But you always got to think outside the box, and I'm always thinking outside the box too. There's always new stuff you can do out there.
And give your thoughts. I mean, long hair in football has always been, before you and I were alive. You know, years ago, it's like these guys have, like, especially the guys with the locks in their hair.
Yeah.
You know, plenty of guys have had their hair pulled, which I remember that could be a legal move if your hair was long enough. No one had locks when I was coming up, you know, but if you had long enough hair, what's your thought? Because now, you know, oh, this needs to be a penalty. And if you do this, this is a penalty. Do you think that there's too many penalties in football? Is the game getting so kind of, you know, I don't want to say sissified, but sensitive?
Yeah, it is. I mean, from a spectator standpoint, for sure, like it's hard to watch a football game, then see a big hit and then see the penalty and not be frustrated, because you, as a spectator, you know, it's fun to watch, but at the same time, you got to think of the player and player safety. There's definitely a middle ground you got to find when it comes to player safety. But at the same time, remember, I mean, no matter how much rules you put in, you know, football is a violent sport at the end of the day. So you have to find a middle. I think, right, yeah, it seems like the last year or two, it seems it's really going to the really trying to overplay on some of the rules. I think they got to bring it back a little bit and try to find a middle ground. And it also starts with safe tackling techniques too. You guys, it's not just about calling the penalties, but you guys about teaching kids early on how to tackle without your head without leading in your head and tackling correctly. Which how we teach tackling has evolved a lot since back in the day, tremendously. I mean, we used to be leading with your head essentially, and pretty dangerous. And now recently we're teaching rugby style tackling, how they tackle in rugby, which the Seattle Seahawks have become quite known for, and they're, you know, usually one of the best tackling teams in the league. And so it's become pretty effective, but it's very different. It starts with coaching, essentially, and learning how to play safe first, and then we can move on from there.
Yeah, because I mean, I just think if your hair is out your body, I remember, my mom or my dad making my jersey real tight so you
Yeah,
couldn't be pulled, and then you got your hair out. Like my hair, if it's out the helmet, it's fair game, and anything else, and to like you guys gonna make this flag football in a second,
yeah,
which,
yeah. It's getting there. Which, hey,
yeah.
flag football is a fun game in itself, but let's make that a different sport. Let's make that a whole nother thing going because we can have both. I think flag football is also great. I think any way you can get more people involved in football is good, and even if it means getting people involved in flag football, that's great too.
Yeah, but let's leave the flag football for like the Ocho Cincos and Terrell Owens when they lose
Yeah,
all their money, right? And give them
yeah,
something to retire in. One thing I haven't seen that I would love to see, I would go do a whole year of travel to find a woman who could be like a punter or be the field goal kicker who just had excellent soccer talent. Why do you think we haven't seen that, even if it's just for like the PR of it? I'm a PR guy too, you guys.
yeah.
So have you seen a woman that you're like, you know what, if they really wanted to, she can kick a 52-yard field goal or make a punt? Have you seen it yet?
Well, I believe I think it was last season or season before at Vanderbilt, they had a girl from the soccer team was their kicker for one game. I don't know if you heard about that at Vanderbilt. All their kickers, I think they got COVID. Their whole kicking room got COVID. So then they just like they found a girl soccer player who went to Vanderbilt like, hey, do you want to be our kicker for a game? And she went out there and she got the job done. She wasn't out there booming 50-yard, 2-yard field goals, but I believe she, made an extra point. She did the kickoff and stuff. So I think it's only a matter of time for sure. We have a couple of female refs in the NFL. There's several female coaches in the NFL now. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time, I believe, until we see something like that.
Okay. I mean, we had a female on our college team, and I mean, she weighed twice what I weighed, whatnot, and she took her bumps and bruises. So I know it's possible, even if somebody isn't necessarily the best. Just again for the clout of it all, because there are some women who can really kick, and if colleges can't find them again, send me around the world. I know where what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I'll go to Africa and go find a women's soccer team that has dominated in the Olympics, like Cameroon or
Yeah. I can't.
Nigeria or whatnot. Man, I appreciate this game. I know you're on Instagram. I will have links in the description. Also, he's on LinkedIn for those who are real professionals. But let the people know where they can connect you with and how they can help you out. Maybe there's an opportunity out there, and you say, "Look, I'm looking for this, and this." And it may not just be in coaching. It may be in something in the admin as well, where you're up in the booth, right? Six-figure
Yeah.
paycheck and more. But yeah, give the game and let people know.
Yeah, as you said, I'm on LinkedIn, would be the best way to reach me professional wise. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, but I would say, yeah, on right now, yeah, I recently graduated bachelor's in kinesiology and exercise science. So right now I'm looking into sports management, the business side, in grad school. So right now I'm looking for coaching jobs. Hopefully I want to get a connection in the college level for sure. I have connections in the high school level. I'd love to hopefully, I mean, when I do grad school, I'll be open to coaching at the high school level at a nearby school, or hopefully get involved with the college team, even if it's just volunteering. But also when it comes to the business side of things, I'm also interested in sports business, which is where getting to know Rick Haro has been great because he's one of the pioneers of sports business. So yeah, anything. I mean, I just want to be in the world of sports for sure. So I would like to get involved anywhere I can, and I'm open to pretty much anything right now in that realm.
Awesome. Well, you guys have got the game. So whether it's here in America, I know Europe, you guys are pushing for, hey, American football is going to be big here. And even Africa has told me, there's going to be a game, God willing, in Ghana in 2023. A friend of mine is working on. So you guys, you got to have the young people to take it to the next level. This guy is making his own plays. He's doing it in a new way. The beauty of a young coach is he can connect with the players. And if they all want to make an NFT, it might benefit everybody, right? They might retire off one idea. So I appreciate everybody listening, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, our new partners over at AYV Radio in Freetown, Sierra Leone. We are so happy to be here every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure if you do nothing else, you share the game. It will change somebody's life. You guys be blessed.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biased socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration enjoyed by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.